Hello, Tim O'Kelly here. I want to bring to you a perspective that at any time you choose to use this perspective, it will quickly bring you peace, like a calm, a peace, and an excitement. Great perspective to use when anytime you want to, even when things are falling apart. Great perspective. Before I get into that, what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about myself. If this is our first time to be with each other, I started personal development back in the late 80s, 1988. Went to a course and made some new decisions to do this work for really the rest of my life. I've never done anything that answered more questions about me and gave me tools to produce the results that I've always wanted to that I just was struggling with. And so I've traveled around. I've been on stages throughout this country and all over Canada since 1990. And all those years I've been working on, in the personal development area, what are the fewest tools that anybody can use to create what we want to create. Because I do believe everybody's got a dream and everybody's got challenges. And I think that's the game. We're going to have dreams and we're going to have challenges to get those dreams. And that's a growth process. And that's what I truly believe we're all here to do. So I've been looking at what are the fewest tools? Because if you look out in personal development, there are tons of things you can do. So that's what I've been about. That's what this is just something that I can quickly use right now. Not over time, over a year, over 2 years, right now, today, that will bring a change. And that's what this perspective can do. So let me just, before I go into the perspective, let's talk about perspective just for a moment, of how powerful just perspective is. So a perspective, another way to say that is the way I see something, the way I view something, my beliefs about something, my viewpoint, my opinion. So you put all that together, it's all saying the same thing. It's just my perspective, the way I see things. So, you talk to people, they have different perspectives. That's what makes people different. People see the world this way. Some people see the world this way. Some people see the world as it's an incredible place, opportunities. And then some people say it's a cruel world, it's a hostile universe. Einstein said that way back about if you just really want to find out why you show up the way you do, answer one question. Do you believe that you live in a hostile universe or a friendly universe? So perspective has been talked about forever, but the key thing about perspective is whatever your perspective is generates then your attitude. So you don't wake up in the morning and set your attitude. You have attitude because you have perspective already. You've had perspective a long time. The way you see things, you've seen it that way most likely for a really long time. So it's always been generating an attitude that sometimes we're so in it we cannot even see it. Who do you know doesn't know what water is? Fish. Fish are in water the whole time. They don't even know what it is. So you can be in an attitude and not even realize that it's where it's coming from. And then once the attitude is set in place, then you'll always behave a certain way that's in alignment with that perspective. Right? So if you think the world is a horrible place, you're going to have a horrible attitude and most likely not going to go out and get your dream. Because why would you? Because it's a mean place, it's a negative place. Or if you switch it to that this is a really, really cool place, a lot of great people, a lot of opportunities to get your dream, to make your dream happen, to contribute to the world. See, and it all goes back to just the way that you see it. Because I know the way that you see it, you think it's true. I know that from previous experience. I do know that. You're always going to be that too. If you believe that the world is a really great place, and yes, great means that it's not always perfect, there's always going to be challenges. Right? But if you believe that it's a great place to live in and you start to believe that, you'll actually think it's true. Whatever you think is true, that sets up everything. So now what I want to do is I want to give you a perspective that can bring a lot of peace and a lot of excitement too. So let's start with the perspective of the past. Okay, so whatever your past has been, you have a belief about it. You have a perspective about it. It was great. It was horrible. It was in between, And as I was saying that, I was thinking that I don't really know if I've ever heard anybody say it was in between now that I think about that. A lot of people have said their past was great or the past was horrible. Now, maybe yours is in between. I just thought that when I was talking about that. So, even if you think your past was horrible, isn't it true, and I hate this probably as much as you do, isn't it true that you've always heard that there's always been people that had worse? And there's always people that have, but I got that. That doesn't always make it so much better. I got it. But even if you think it was terrible, Can you change your perspective? Do you have the ability to do that? The answer is yes, you can. And I'm going to say this, it's the only thing you can change is your perspective. You don't change people. You don't change the outside world. You always change your perspective or not. So even though you think, my dad left, first relationship I ever got in, ID bracelet thrown back in my face, rejected, horrible. So yeah, we can all look back and go, we had stuff happen. But I want to give you a perspective on that past that might help a lot. Now think about this. If you've ever played sports, let's take football. I'm a college football fan. If you've ever played sports, if you wanted to play in the big game, you want to play in the Super Bowl, you want to play in the national championship, whatever it was, well, you had to play in games to qualify for that. True? Okay. So to play in games, you had to practice. Right? You had to practice daily. Did you like the practice? Probably not. There were many times you went to practice and didn't want to go. It was painful. It was struggle. And sometimes you lose sight of what am I doing this for? Right? So I want you to think of your past. If it was a struggle, I want you to put it in that perspective. That your past, you have been in training. You have been in practice. Think about that. You had to. Think of an Olympic gold medalist. And I'm thinking of one right now, the great story of Gabby Douglas, gymnast, who, a couple Olympics back, one just came out of nowhere. Well, of course she didn't come out of nowhere. She's been struggling and falling off the beam and 2 broken arms, over and over and over, chasing that dream. We don't see all that. We just all of a sudden watch the Olympics and see this young, beautiful girl come out and win it all. We haven't seen the years of pain, the years of struggle, the years of that. We don't see that. Sometimes they do show us while we're watching it, but we hadn't seen that. We just look at it and go, I want the big game. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. I want a great relationship. But no, everyone has been through practice. Everyone has been through hardships. Everybody's been through growth process. So what if you looked at your life and went, you know what? Everything that I've been through has been practice for me to develop who I am. I promise you this, you're going to develop more with the struggles in life. I promise you that. You're going to come out of it better the harder the struggle. Sometimes now when I look at hiring people to be around with me on my team, I don't look at what their job credentials are. I just don't look at it anymore. I want to look at how much pain have they been through. Give me somebody who's been through some pain and come out of it, they've got character. Versus someone who's never been through it, who's never had a hardship, they're not going to know how to handle the hard times. You give me someone who's handled some pain, some struggle in their life, they can take on some big things and handle them. Okay, so your past has been practice. 2-a-days in football, that's what it's been, to get you to where you are right now. Okay, so now your perspective on the present. How about this one? Everything that's happening right now, even if it is a struggle, even if it is tough right now, everything that's happening right now is exactly what is supposed to be happening. How do we know that it is? Because it's happening. Now, believe me, I know that you can disagree with that. So you can have your perspective on this too. I'm just saying, try this perspective. That everything that's happening right now is exactly what's supposed to be happening for you to be ready for what? See, now we go to the perspective of the future. What are your thoughts when you think of future? Even the future of the day, when you wake up, what are your thoughts about the day? What are your thoughts about next year? What are your thoughts about the end of 2016? What are your thoughts about 2017? See, you've either got it set up that these are your best years coming up. These are your biggest years coming up. Or do you have the perspective that, no, my biggest years were in college. My biggest years were when I opened the company. Those were my biggest years. If you've got that perspective that your biggest years were already behind you, do you see that you cannot be excited? You cannot be at peace, because if your best times have already happened, then your worst times have got to be coming up. And just that perspective will drive you crazy. So I want you to switch your perspective right now to what's happening right now is exactly what's supposed to be happening to get you ready for the big game. Because the big game you've been dreaming about, the big game that you've been thinking about is coming. You're creating it. And you have to go through struggle. Every person who has a goal has a struggle. And if you're in a struggle right now, congratulations. Stay in the struggle. Stay in it. Don't back away from it. Stay in it because your best times are coming. So I want you to be thinking today, just what are those best times that are coming? All that you've been in practice for and everything that's happening right now is all setting you up to have a great success. So I want you to, today, to think about what is the success that's coming. What are you building? What are you learning? What are you setting yourself up for? Once you start focusing on that and realizing that everything that's happened is happening for you, not against you, you will have a shift in how you feel. You'll be excited. You'll be more at peace. And now you're on your way. So get your perspective clear. Everything that's happened is for you, not against you. And your best times are ahead. Take it on. Apply it and see if it works for you. Have a great day.